how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode. And today we're about to talk about He-Man. I love He-Man. And if you're unaware, last year we actually got some good news that Amazon Studios was actually in the start of production when it comes to a live action He-Man. Now, we haven't really gotten a live action He-Man. And some of you are unfamiliar with He-Man. I'm talking to the people that know He-Man. You know, growing up as a kid, He-Man was a big character, especially in the comics, and obviously watching the cartoons, Masters of the Universe. So I grew up watching this. Same thing with like Flash Gordon. These were, basically really intriguing comic book characters that we grew up with and we loved, and not only reading through the comics but obviously watching cartoons. And apparently the news coming from the He-Man world is it's not going to be exactly the same as what we expect. According to Nicholas Galitzine, who's actually going to be playing He-Man, he says that they're taking a different approach to this production of He-Man. Now, I don't know what to think. My hope is they're not going to woke it up. They're not going to basically embed a lot of weird craziness that we've seen over the last few years with a lot of movies that we ended up really hating because they really subjected us to a bunch of BS, right? The writers really ended up taking over and really adding a lot of their bias, right? A lot of their... Anyway, that's what I fear. Now, it's not confirmed that that's the direction they're going. But whenever you hear something like this from not only the director, the actor, it gives you pause. And for me, it's giving me pause for that reason. Because one of the things we love about He-Man is the fact that He-Man is dark, right? This is not like a cartoonish type, Tom and Jerry type. No, He-Man is dark. And if you've watched the Masters of the Universe on Netflix, this is not really a kid's show because they are not the dialogue is fine. It's just how brutal the fighting is, right? And rightly so, because that's actually in the comics. So my fear is they're changing a huge part of this, and to basically appeal to a new audience, right? Because a lot of young people don't. I mean, if you're 30 or younger, I doubt if you know He-Man. I really do. Unless you were exposed, unless your older brothers or older sisters or your dad, or you know what I mean? You didn't really grow up. I mean, over the last 20 years, it's been Marvel and DC. You haven't necessarily seen a lot of He-Man. And He-Man is basically 90s, right? So if you're under 30, I'd be hard pressed to find people who are very familiar with He-Man. So obviously, you want to appeal to a younger audience because, number one, revenue moving forward. So if you're making a movie, you want it to be successful, and then obviously if you have a younger base, now you have so much that you can do moving forward, not only for a studio like Amazon Studios. You're probably looking at memorabilia, you're looking at doing animated shows on Amazon, because it makes sense from a business standpoint. So I just fear they're going to lose us, the actual He-Man fans, if they, again, now this is speculation, because and a lot of this comes from what we heard from a lot of movies that we've seen. After hearing they're changing different things, we saw that when we watched movies kind of like The Flash. Awful movie. It was what they did with Wonder Woman 1984. So when you start hearing the Marvels, right? When you start hearing things, you're like, and then you go see it and you realize, oh my God, this is what they're doing. This is what they did. And the movies were just awful. So again, this is early on. But for me, I'm just speaking from a personal opinion, it doesn't bode well in gathering confidence in us, with what they're trying to do. Because when you're saying what we're doing is going to be different from what we've experienced from the comics, from everything we saw in the cartoons, like we're going in a different direction, it's you're opening a lot of, or you're opening yourself up to a lot of questions, right? Where exactly are you going? How are you going? And we've seen when studios or directors say we're trying to do something different than what we've seen or read in the comics. It's one thing when you do something different. I remember characters kind of like the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. He's not the Joker that we grew up reading in the comics. He's not. But the first Joker worked with Joaquin Phoenix. You believed him as a Joker, but he's not the stereotypical Joker we read and loved in the comics. Same thing with Heath Ledger. He wasn't the Joker we grew up reading. But so Christopher Nolan changed that version, but it worked. So if they're doing something that works, I'll be okay. But if they're doing something that goes way south, yeah, it'll be another studio investing a whole lot of money for a whole lot of BS. And I'm just hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping they're trying to do something different that actually works. And I hope that's the case. Let me know in the comments if you're a He-Man fan. What do you think? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you anxious? Are you jaded? Where are you when it comes to what this weird world of ours is doing with comics nowadays? Anyway, Happy New Year. And looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. Peace.